Welcome. This is our MRS21 Fall 2021 final review, question number 4. This question is becoming inverse of a function. And so the technique here is especially when we have a situation where we find that we have the variable x in both numerator and denominator. So it's not just the steps we talk about, but there's also another thing we got to keep in mind here for this one that you want to kind of pay attention to. So, all right. So how do we find inverse? Okay. So first, in this case, what do we write this as y equals? So this becomes y equals x plus 1 over x minus 2. So in this case, for our step 1, okay, we will switch x and y. Okay, and so our new equation now becomes x equals y plus 1 over y minus 2. That's pretty straightforward, right? For our second step, oops. All right, so for our second step, oh, sorry, I changed the font to 28 so it's a little easier to read. Why is it kind of stuck here? Okay, there you go. Here we go. So switch x, y, we're going to solve for y. Now, this is going to be a little more challenging than we normally do, right? Mainly because of the fact that in this case that getting y by itself is usually easier when it's one y. We have two different y's in two different places. And so in this situation, we're going to change our x to x over 1, and we're going to cross multiply. Okay? And so now we have x parenthesis y minus 2, which is x times y minus 2 equals 1 times y plus 1. And we'll distribute. Okay, please remember your technique for cross multiplying. So we have x times y minus 2x equals y plus 1. So in this case, for our problem for this one, I'll call it 2a, because it's kind of the process of solving for y. All right, so 2a, group all terms with y on one side of the equation, everything else on the other side. Okay, and so move this over so we have a little space here. I like lining things up. Do we have to do this all the time? No. It just in this situation, we see in this case that we have a special situation where we have these y's in different positions though. So we're going to, in this situation here, we're going to subtract y on both sides because I'm going to put all the y's to the left side, right? I'm going to add 2x to both sides because that's moving it over to the other side here. So 2x. And so now we end up getting our equation to be xy minus y equals 2x plus 1. All right. Now we write up here, just because it's a little easier to see, though, so no, there's purple. So xy minus y equals 2x plus 1. Now we want to get y by itself, okay? And so our next step in this 2a process is that we're going to do, we'll call it 2b, next step, factor out the y. Okay, so what do we factor out the y? Well, our y on the left side is our greatest common factor, so we're going to factor out the y here. So we have y, and we're left with x minus 1 equals 2x plus 1. Okay? And so now we kind of got y by itself, one y in this situation, one y. But now we want to get, again, we're still solving for y. Okay? So 2c would be move the leftover to the other side. Which means in this case, we're going to, at this point, again, I want to line this up nicely, kind of, sort of, yeah. Now we're going to divide both sides by the x minus 1, because we need to get y by itself. So now we have y equals 2x plus 1 over x minus 1. Okay? And now for our last step here, and this is going to be our 3 step in this case. Normally we do this, no, relabel. Oh, sorry, let's put a little dash here. Relabel to f negative 1 of x. Okay, and this negative 1, let me just kind of change this to exponent here. So, you would think I could do this like automatically. No, not with what I'm using. And so our final answer will be the inverse, which is going to be f raised to negative 1. This is notation for inverse of a function. And we do this so that we do not mistaken the function for the inverse. And so this is going to be our inverse here, okay? And there you go. All right, so yeah, normally you just solve for y and then relabel the inverse to inverse f negative 1 of x. Here we had to do something a little bit different, a little bit more. We had to kind of get the y by itself. And so this is our technique in this situation, okay? We use a little factoring. So again, I'm just trying to show you that factoring is super important. We do a lot of these different types of math we're working on. It's again as important as knowing how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you found this helpful, give it a like. If you need to watch it again, watch it again. I don't mind. Share the video too if you find, especially for those people who've been out and like definitely need help with finding the inverse of a function. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. And I'll see you next video, right? Be safe.